And welcome back, everyone, to Zanpakuto Creation Series. Today's Zanpakuto Creation Series suggestion comes to us from, where is that? Hyperdust Sans level 99. Who asked the question, what is the Zanpakuto of SCP-076? Now, 076 essentially is Kane. There's two SCPs that are, in essence, Kane-enabled. This is Kane. Now, Kane basically, SCP-076 technically exists as just a box most of the time, a containment box with no discernible openings to it. However, every now and then, a being comes out of the box. This is SCP-076-2. This is, in which isn't actually named Kane, but by all accounts is Kane. This is an individual who is completely driven on destroying everything in his path, including every human in his path, capable of forming weapons out of just thin air. They're like obsidian black and all that. And it takes a lot to put this guy down. In terms of personality, it's very difficult to say whether or not he has much of a personality, although in the extended lore, he is said to have at least a very violent and rage-boosting personality. So, then, what is this guy, Zanpakuto? What do you do for a character like this? Well, I think it's pretty obvious that a character like this is Zanpakuto is predominantly a melee type Zanpakuto, with admittedly maybe a Kido-esque ability to it, but predominantly a melee type. I do think sealed-wise, it's actually in the form of a Kodachi, not a standard katana. I do see this guy as like a longsword user, just cut down individuals. Its release would be cut them down. Its name, Shikai, I believe, would be Rage. It's just straight Rage, which is Akari. In, the Akari form from Dragon Ball Super, it's actually, that's Rage. But I'd say it would be Akari. Its Bankai would be just Raging Frenzy, which is translated to Irokuru Kyuran. And its spirit would be that of basically a humanoid, but closer to like an Oni, a demon of like war and stuff like that. Not quite a Kishin, but definitely a demon, like an Oni type being. In terms of what it would look, what the Shikai would look like, I do think it turns into a kind of dual blade obsidian looking, almost like obsidian quartz, but not quite. More close to the lava glass, but it is in fact metal, so it's not going to just crack. And basically razor sharp black blades that he just has in his hand. The blades can pretty much morph into a copy in any form that has a blade. So he can turn it into a scythe. He can turn it into a dagger. He can turn it into an arrow. He can be creative and turn it into a shield with a blade. As long as he can imagine something with a blade, he can turn it into that and use it for a further weapon. Now, this lends itself to actually being very interesting because as long as he can think it as a blade, it can, in fact, turn into it. In theory, he could turn the damn swords into a missile. They just have to have a blade on there, which really, it's not hard to imagine a missile with a blade on it. So there you go. He could just turn that, and then, the blade might reform. If you thinking of even weirder things, he could theoretically make a slingshot that is a blade. And just firing blades at people, just ding, ding, ding. He wouldn't do that, admittedly, but fine. A hammer with a blade. Look at Thor's Stormbreaker from the MCU. That's a hammer with a blade on it. It would be actually a very versatile and dangerous weapon, so long as it could manifest a blade. The Bankai, I do believe that the blade multiplies. The blade will multiply into 10 blades that are constantly circling the user. He can just summon more and let them as long as he doesn't run out of them. That would basically be like Hitsugai's Daigyoran and Hirimaru, where, the flower runs out. In theory, the Bankai should run out, but that's not actually what it was. But more importantly, it's like as long as he's still controlling a blade, he can just boom, summon more. Now, maybe instantly, he maybe needs to take a moment to just focus and just boom, it's not automatic. But he can just toss blades at individuals and he can still morph them into said blades. He can make them basically encircle him, not into just a standard circle formation, but maybe like as a outward shield style formation, maybe like 4 in front, 4 in the back, 2 on the side, and they're just spinning around him like in a ball. Or he could just turn them into bladed shields, as I said, just kind of defend himself, or, shield and spear. anything you can think of as a blade would still be his weapon. Now there isn't much of a Keto-esque ability to this, admittedly, but you could make the argument that he can, because he controls them telekinetically or morph them into anything, that could be a Keto-esque ability. This type of Zanpakuto would actually be beneficial for most combat scenarios, so long as you're not going up against someone with a crazy ability. Add on to the fact that it can have a level of range to it, makes it very, very versatile. However, it is still limited by several limitations. One, it would be limited in Bankai to if he accidentally ran out of the blades, his Bankai would be over. And you can only reactivate a Bankai so many times. That does use up spiritual energy on your part. Two, I mean, the blades, they're not like Nozarashi, which in theory can cut through anything. No, the blades are super sharp, but they can't cut through everything. And if he can't get through something physically, well, then he's kind of SOL. So there's that. And I mean, he's limited only by his imagination, which means in theory there are just things he cannot create. He cannot create, say, he can't create a living being in theory. But in theory he could, so long as it had a blade on it. I mean, that probably is like the epitome of what his ability, Bankai or like his Zanpakuto could do if he truly mastered it. Is that morph the blade into an animal with a blade on it, a living being with a blade on it. But for the sake of arguments, he cannot create non-living things out with his blade. So he can't create like a Minazuki with like bladed wings or a bladed tail. He can't create Kakujo Tengen Yojo. He can't create that thing because it's a sentient being. Can't create he just can't create sentient beings. In theory. But still, it would be a very unique weapon, especially for Bleach. We haven't seen anything very similar to that in Bleach. But more importantly, it's a ability that I think really fits this type of character who is pretty much just wants to kill everything in front of him. So this is, to me, SCP-076's Zanpakuto. What do you think of the Zanpakuto? Do you agree with the Zanpakuto or do you not? Let me know in the comments below. These type of characters are more difficult to do Zanpakuto videos for because they don't have, yes, in their established lore, there are definitely personality features to them, but they are much less defined. So they do tend to be a bit more difficult. Either way, though, that is my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with this choice or if you would do something different for this character. Let me know in the comments below. Till then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you folks next time.